Hey there, guys. Welcome in to another episode of the Zoned In podcast. Tonight, we've got myself, Brandon, also known as Chicken. I've got Troy, also known as Tragic.
Hey, how you doing?
I've got Hunter, also known as Slaytech.
Yo, what's happening, fam?
And then I've got Connor, also known as Claus.
Yo, what up?
So we've got the band back together. This episode is all going to be about what's happened since the first three podcasts have dropped of the America tour. So we're going to talk about a couple things that we missed in the original stories, some of our favorite stories from Troy's entire trip to America. Going to give some life updates and some sneak peeks at some things coming up in the future, some potentials, and just kind of banter a little bit and tell some fun stories. So first thing that I want to talk about on tonight's podcast is the fact that we have dropped the first three episodes of the podcast, and I think, me personally, that the first couple episodes have done extremely well. I'm so glad to see the interaction, both from people that I know personally, as well as people that I don't know, people who are, friends and family of the other guys. It's kind of cool to see, people that normally wouldn't listen to a podcast jump in and listen and really have a good time and give us the feedback on all these. Boys, what do you think about the podcast drop? We'll start with Troy.
Yeah, I thought it was been really good. Obviously, the first three episodes dropped over a 6-week period, and it's retained a fair few listeners. So yeah, it's been good on our end. So,
Hunter, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean the crowd definitely showed some love on the first one, second one as well. Bunch of friends, a bunch of our peers said they watched it, loved it, so it was good. Good to hear we had some love from it.
Con, what about you?
I'm gonna be honest. The only one I have listened to since it has dropped was the first one, but I listened to them all after we recorded them. But after looking at everything, I think it's done pretty good. And then I know, like, Troy's fam, they've said they've watched it and thought highly of it, and same with ours.
Well, I'll be honest, I listened to them when we first recorded them. Like, the drive home from the studio, I remember listening to them, and I'll be honest, I watched them as they got dropped on YouTube, and I already forgot some of the things we had talked about. I had already kind of forgotten some of the stories, and it makes me once again so very thankful that we did that, so that those stories will get to live on for as long as we keep the YouTube going. And I think that's so important. And on that same line, I want to make sure that we talk about some stories that either happened before the podcasts, the first three were originally recorded, or happened after. Because there was a couple of days after we recorded those before Troy went back home. And there's a couple stories that I think are super important that I want to make sure that we hit on. And the first one is actually all the way back when Troy originally arrived in St. Louis for his trip. And I don't know why I didn't put this in the first episode, because it was so traumatic. It was right after we had left the airport and right before we got to the gas station. There was a bunch of construction in St. Louis, which is always a big thing in St. Louis. But the car in front of me had totally taken out a road cone, and they threw it up in the air about 2-3 foot, and then it landed right in front of my car. And I remember running over that damn road cone and worrying for the next half hour that, it fucking might have grabbed my brake line or, my gas line, anything like that. So that was one story that I felt like I needed to put in here so we have it in video form for years to come. But that was the only story that I could think of from the first couple weeks. And I also just want to take a second. Boys, anybody else have any other stories that they think they forgot from up until we recorded the podcasts?
I don't think I have any missed stories from that point. Um, yeah, I'm not sure.
Hunter, Connor, anything from you guys?
No, I mean, yeah, when we hit that cone, that was definitely a crazy experience. Definitely thought the car might have taken some damage, but I mean, St. Louis with construction zones on the highway, a lot of crazy shit can happen. So
Well, and we were talking about it in our little planning meeting before we recorded this. Connor's like, wait, we hit a road cone? Like, well, you're probably too busy in the back seat eating snacks, so you might
Yeah.
not have been paying attention for that. But
Well,
so that
that was no, that was first interaction with Troy. So it's like I kind of remember you freaking out, but other than that, not too terribly much because it's like I got more important things in your car to worry about.
so I mean that's the only story that I could think of from before we recorded the podcast. So the next couple topics are things that happened in the 3 or 4 days after we recorded the podcast. Troy's last 4 or 5 days in America. One of the biggest things that happened was Halloween. October 31st came around, and Troy had kind of told us beforehand that he was really excited for Halloween, but not because he wanted to dress up, not because he wanted to go, get candy from people. Troy, why were you so excited about Halloween?
Well, the big thing is Halloween down here in Australia isn't what it is in America. Like we'll have trick or treaters around here, but it's not like it's like the whole community will get involved, or it's not like every house is doing something. So it was always big for me because like I've seen people go to America for Halloween, and it's always just been crazy. So I obviously wanted to see what it was like for myself. So it's good.
Well, I mean, we had a good time. We ended up, we loaded up in my car, and we didn't do anything big, crazy, extravagant. We just we went around, and I showed him some of the busier neighborhoods in our town, and kind of the neighborhoods I knew were kind of the hopping spots. Got stuck in traffic for 10-15 minutes in one neighborhood, and it was funny because there was no need for us to go there. We just wanted to see what it was like, so it was kind of funny to get through there. It was also kind of funny trying to track down family members because really that was Troy's last night here.
Yeah, that was the last night.
And at that point, we're kind of trying to get him around to some of my family members, just to say, hey, he's gone tomorrow. So everybody got a chance to say goodbye, give him a hug, anything that they wanted to do. Stop by and saw my parents, my little brother, my older brother. So I feel like that was a really cool thing that we got to do. And, there's obviously bigger, better things you can do on Halloween. Like if we really would have had a little bit more time, taking him over to, what is that big scare fest over in St. Louis? Fear Fest? Is that it?
There's a big one in Columbia as well, I think.
yeah, that's Fairfest. Yeah, definitely could have done a haunted house because there's some pretty good ones around us. But it was
Even
so
like Rogue
cold that
one.
night too.
Yeah,
Oh,
Fear
yeah, that night
Fest
was
is-
freezing.
Yeah, Fear Fest is Columbia.
So, I mean, we just kind of did a very scaled down version of it just in California. We didn't go out to any surrounding areas or anything like that, but we were also just trying to soak in our last night together, and we got done with Halloween, and I remember kind of Troy looking at all of us and going, we forgot to do one thing. And we all kind of said, okay, what is that? He said, we never went and got me a cowboy hat. And we all kind of went, oh crap, no we didn't. So there was a Tractor Supply store in California, and we ran over there at it was 7:30, 8 o'clock at night.
It was near and right on closing.
Yeah, they were already doing the announcements, please make your final selections and come to the front. So I was like, boy, we gotta get in and get out fast. So we found the cowboy hats, and Troy had a couple selections, a couple sizes to try on. But we found him a cowboy hat, and made sure that he did get to take a cowboy hat home with him. So,
Yeah.
Troy, have you worn that cowboy hat since you made it home?
I've actually put it on a few times just in my room. I've taken a few little sneaky selfies with it. But yeah, that was a big thing I wanted to get prior to coming to America. That was the one thing I was like, one thing I want to buy no matter what is a cowboy hat. So yeah, it was. We left it late, but we got it. So yeah.
Well, and I completely forgot about it until you said something. And then I was like, we have to go get this. Like, we have to get this done.
Yeah, because I think
I'm
just prior to that, I think me and Hunter were talking about going out, that I was leaving to go and find one. And I, like that morning of, because we didn't have to leave until later to
Yeah,
go to the
later,
airport.
right.
So
Afternoon.
we're going to go out in the morning and find one, and then could pack it in a suitcase and all that. But yeah, I figured like while we're here as a group, I think we just finished. I think it might have been before we went to Halloween. Because I think we were at dinner originally. Like we had a last dinner together, and then we went to get the cowboy hat, and then we went back to your
that could
house,
have been.
and then we went to Halloween.
No, that I think you're right there.
Because
And there was one other thing. Go ahead, Troy. Sorry.
I just vaguely remember eating dinner. I think we all went to dinner. Hannah was there. I don't know if Connor was there.
No, I wasn't.
But, I can't even remember where we went, to be honest, for dinner.
Was it Burger House? No, we went
Um,
to Mexican and then went and played
Oh
games.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did we go to? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, did we go to Mexico?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, because I showed up afterwards. I popped in.
I can't remember. I can't remember the second Mexican place.
But we went and we had that night, and right before Troy left my house for the last time, one thing we did, and I didn't even write this in my notes, I just remembered it, was Troy got his plane tickets out. The
yes.
tickets from his trip from Sydney to Dallas, Dallas to St. Louis, and then we each got the opportunity to sign all of his tickets. And luckily there was 3 of them. And what we ended up doing was we took all 3 of these tickets, and I kept one, Slaytech kept one, and Tragic kept one. So as the members of management for Ozone, we each have a signed plane ticket from Troy's first America trip, and I still have that in a frame in my bedroom.
Oh yeah.
It
I
is
put one-
it's magnetized to our fridge.
Yeah. I
you
put
know,
one up in my Ozone poster on my wall. It's in the front of that. And then I've got all the old one. I've got all the return tickets just sitting there waiting. I might bring them back up next time and just leave them all there.
Nice, sick. Yeah, we got you a $2 bill as well. We finally found
Oof.
one.
Yeah.
I know.
I went through hella struggle to get that, so you owe me big time.
I think the only one I'm missing, because I brought a note over. I brought 100. I brought a 20. I brought a 10, a 5, and a 1 home with me.
What about a 50?
I think I'm missing a 50. So next time I come up there, I'm gonna have to get me a 50.
Yeah, we can do that. We can make that happen. So that was, the last time you left my house. So you went back to the boys' house for the night. How was getting packed up? How was getting everything ready for your departure the next day?
It was a struggle. I had I would say a mental breakdown.
Yep, that would definitely be the way you described that.
Yeah, like so the whole trip, my mom was nagging me about getting these flowers from Hobby Lobby. So I got these flowers, and I was happy to get them, but I didn't realize how much room they would take up in my suitcase.
Or how expensive they were.
Or how expensive they were. They were expensive.
Them things were expensive.
But so I was sitting there, and I'm trying to get all this stuff in. I'm like, I'd pack it like to the brim full, and I'd turn around, there's still a little pile of stuff to get in there. It's like, where is all this gonna go? So I was sitting there, and I was like, we army rolled all my clothes, and then like I like got all the air out of my like shower bag, and then I was like, I still don't have enough room, so I think I ended up leaving. I left my deodorant.
You left your
Shampoo,
deodorant, your
conditioner.
shampoo, your conditioner,
So
your cologne.
I left some stuff at the boys' house. It would have ended up fitting, but I was just like, just get it out. Whatever I don't need to, like, whatever isn't necessary to get home, I can leave. Obviously, like, the cologne I can get back down here. Like, shampoo and that, I don't care. Shampoo and that, like, I would have ran out by now anyway, so.
You're just stocked up for your next trip.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
all
have been using that cologne, I will be honest.
That cologne is so nice. I've got another bottle of it, and I'll have to bring it, like, more up when I come next.
Yeah, definitely.
So we get everything packed up finally. It's just about time to get on the road. How were the goodbyes at Hunter and Connor's house?
Well, so we got home late on that day, on that Halloween. We got home fairly late, I would think. And Hunter and Connor's parents actually, like, woke up and came out and said goodbye. And, like, we're like, oh, you didn't have to, like, we're planning to come and see you all tomorrow at work, like, on the way into Jeff and then onto St. Louis. So, like, we said our goodbyes that night, and then we still end up going to say goodbye the following day, like, the day I was flying out. We went by and said our goodbyes again. And it was harder than I was expecting to say goodbye. I got teary-eyed with everyone I said goodbye to. I probably didn't show it as much until obviously after I said goodbye to Brandon. I had my sunnies on. I was tearing under there. They probably could have heard it in my voice as well. But it was just, it was. I don't know, it's especially coming back here where I know it's just not a 5-minute drive down the road now to go and see the boys. It's another 6-hour flight, then another 4-hour flight from there, then a 2-hour drive. It's
a journey, bro.
It's a trip.
Yeah, sure.
Like, it obviously has meaning now. Like, if I come up, I'll be like, it's one of those ones where it's,
a life experience, bro.
Yeah, like I'm ready to come.
Yeah.
I'm ready to come back, but like when I'm there, it's actually gonna have more of that sentimental value to it.
Well, and I think you hit it right on the head there, Troy. I mean, I feel like having that thought of I can't drive across town to go see Troy makes me cherish the moments that we spent together on the trip that much more special. It makes me cherish those, and I find myself every now and then just looking back at the pictures that we took, the videos we took, and just kind of doing that. Man, I miss that. I miss that camaraderie and having everybody sitting on my back porch drinking beers, cooking food. And I cannot wait to do that again. And I know it's going to come. I know the time's going to come, but definitely think we all cherish that time we had together. But just like you had just talked about, I think you said it, kind of your hardest goodbye was probably the hardest 10 minutes of my day. I went to work that morning knowing that Troy was going to come and knowing that it was going to be the last time I got to see him. And I remember just kind of, hey, give me a heads up when you're, almost here. Give me a heads up when you're in the building. And, all my coworkers, I kind of gave them a heads up. Hey, my buddy's coming by. He's heading back to Australia today. So I'm going to spend a couple minutes out there talking to him. And, of course, all my coworkers are cool. Yeah, do what you got to do. So I went outside, and Troy comes around the corner, and I don't notice anything at first because he's got his sunnies on. He's got a hat on. So, I kind of said, hey, let's take a moment. He's like, I want to walk you through my office. So I walked him through my office. I got to show him my cubicle, my desk. Got to kind of say goodbye to a couple of the coworkers that he met at the wedding. And it wasn't until we got back out to the front lobby of my office, and I remember talking, and I finally turned around, and Troy had taken his sunglasses off, and at that point, it wasn't just a sniffle or a single tear; it was a full-blown meltdown, and I made it about 3 seconds before I had a meltdown, and it just kind of turned into a really heartwarming moment of, fuck, dude, I am so glad you did this. Like, I'm so glad you were able to come and be here and do this, and there's no amount of appreciation that I could give for what you've done. And, you know, we kind of had that conversation of it's not going to be a 5-minute drive now. And I think, to me, that's when it really set in that, man, this has been a hell of a journey.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and the journey's not done, but this chapter of that journey is done. And finally, I was like, man, we just got to break this off because we're going to sit here and cry for 3 or 4 hours. So I finally said, you know, I got to get back to it. And we got that long, hard embrace, and I just said, I love you, dude. You know, thank you. Good luck. Keep me updated. And he went, you know, got back in the car, and they went on to St. Louis. You know, did you guys have anything interesting, fun, dramatic happen on your way up to St. Louis after you left my office?
No,
Well,
not
really?
terrible.
Yeah. We went from.
Drop my car off.
Yeah. So we actually went from we went from Jeff City to Columbia to drop off Connor's car. So we still went the long way back to St. Louis.
Yeah.
And we stopped in Kingdom City again. Just
Yep.
at the gas station there to get some drinks and that. So and that was crazy for me because obviously we're at the gas station across from the Denny's that we had had our first. Like we stopped at that gas station right across the road. So I walked outside after walking in and getting what I was getting, and I walked outside and I was like looking at the Denny's. I was like, is that where we were that first night? And the boys were like, yeah, that's where we were. And I was like, it looked completely different. Like I didn't notice anything at like that night, but it's like I was noticing everything on the last day of Kingdom City. So
Oh,
A
yeah.
Denny's at daylight is a lot different than a Denny's at darkness.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, definitely.
But yeah,
But-
St. Louis was like, obviously, emotions were like very high. And pretty much, we went and grabbed pizza before we left because we had some time to kill. We had quite a bit of time to kill. So we did get to hang out. But yeah, we walked about to, where was it? Was it baggage claim? Or we walked all the way to security, I think.
That's
yeah,
where
we
we
got
said
all the way through to
goodbye.
security.
That was when it kind of like really, really hard set in, bro.
Yep. Sank in.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
it
think
sank in.
I think that's
fast.
also when I told you that I left $10 on the front seat to pay for parking.
Yeah, you did.
It was like right before I left them. I was like, "There's just so you know, I left a $10 note on the front seat, so you can pay for parking."
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a journey in the airport. Like we're sitting there, and like we're trying to check in with the automatic check-in machine things, and it wasn't picking up, or the numbers weren't working. And I was like, "Oh, like it's the last thing I want to be worried about." We had to go and like talk to the I think like reception. Spoke to them, they'd done it all. I was like, oh, that was the easy way to do it. Yeah, we were probably at the airport for maybe an hour and a half before we actually
Yeah, we were
went
there
through.
for a hot minute.
Yeah, we went and got some pizza and had some drinks and all that. Yeah.
So the real question is, did you cry when you walked away from Hunter and Connor?
Oh yeah, and this goes also back to when like at the state capitol, and when you're leaving, I was like walking, and I was like looking over my shoulder. I was like, oh, he hasn't turned around yet. So then like when I was at the when I was going through security, I was at that line, and obviously there's people in front of me, so I'm just standing there. I'm like looking, like, they haven't turned around yet. And then it was like watching them walk to the like right down the hallway, and then they turn at the end, and that's when I was like, shit, look, the next time I might see these guys could be 5 years from now, or could be, it's obviously going to be a few years. Don't know exactly when I'll be up there next, or if you sit down here, but like watching them turn the corner, I was like, damn, like that was the last bit.
That was a hard one, I will be honest.
Oh yeah.
So, how were your flights home? Any drama, anything crazy happened while you were going home?
I don't think there was anything too crazy. I know flying from St. Louis to LAX, there wasn't all that much that happened. I think that flight was delayed, going off memory, because I was worried, because I only had 2 hours between landing at LA and taking off from LA, and I still had to work out where I had to go, going from domestic to international. So I was like, oh no, like this is the worst case. So I was like, oh, like if I got to clear security or whatever it is to get into the internationals, it's gonna obviously draw time. But that flight was pretty relaxed. I remember looking out the window and it was pretty dark, and I was thinking, okay, look, it's pretty good. Like, get on the next flight, might have to watch a movie and I'll be asleep. But then, like, the same sort of thing at LA. I landed. I let everyone know I landed obviously safely. I went for a walk, and I was like, what can I get here that I can't get back home again? So like at Kingdom City, before we got to St. Louis, I brought 2 sweet teas, and I drank one and I left one with the boys. So like I probably won't drink it. I can't get on that plane. All that. So I left one with the boys, and when I got to LA, I was like, I could really use that sweet tea now. So then I went and found and brought one, and like I worked out I'm addicted to sweet tea. Like I've been missing it every day since I left. So like I found sweet tea, I had that and sit around, and then that flight got delayed. So originally I was going to be in the air for technically 3 different days. Like I was leaving on a Wednesday night, obviously all Thursday, and then Friday morning. I think that flight left just on midnight, or just before midnight, so I was still technically in the air for three days, which was a complete trip in the sense of missing a full day. Like when I landed, it was crazy.
So, I know you wanted to try KFC, did we ever do that?
We did not do KFC.
I didn't
Damn,
know if you...
that's the reason to come back.
Yeah, I didn't know if you ended up trying that at the airport or something.
Then when I got to LA, I was more worried again about just trying to find where I had to go, especially going from domestic to international. And like my ticket didn't say where I had to go. Like, I actually had to search it on my phone to find my gate, which I don't know how worked. Like I didn't know that would be like available online. But like that was a hike again, a big hike, and yeah, like, and I didn't have to clear customs or anything. I didn't have to clear security at LA. I basically walked straight from domestic into international. I was gone, so it was crazy in that sense that I didn't have to check in anywhere.
So, I mean, that's the trip, from back from St. Louis to LAX, then LAX home. The big question I have to ask, was your mom excited to see you when you made it home?
Well, yeah. So my mom actually got a balloon made, and the balloon was wrong. The balloon was supposed to say "Welcome back to Australia," and it said "Welcome to Australia." I obviously didn't take notice of it. I was tired. I was ready to just get home and probably sleep. But yeah, so like all that was happening. I got through Sydney Airport pretty quick. Obviously, being back on home soil as well was a relief in a sense that I didn't have to. It's like I knew I didn't have to fly anywhere. But then like walking out to the car, put my suitcase in the back. I went to get in the passenger seat to what I got used to the 4 weeks prior. So I'm sitting down at the driver's seat thinking, oh, this is not where I want to be. So I had to get back out of the car, walk to the other side, get back in. And like before that happened, like the pay biff wasn't working, so we had to pay before we could get to the car, and it's like, oh, I just want to get going. But yeah, it was pretty good. Like I didn't have to worry about too much. Like, everything I wore on the plane was comfortable, so I was comfortable the whole time. Like I wore my Hey Dudes on the plane. I wore my ozone jumper, which kept me warm. The pants I brought over there, that were like, I didn't land and think, oh, it's so hot. It was actually a pretty cool day back home as well.
So how many Hey Dudes did you end up walking away with by the time your trip was done?
So I've got two down here with me. I brought a third pair, which they said they were an 8, but they definitely were not. So I've left them up. I left them up at Hunter's house, and he wears them, I'm pretty sure now.
Well, I mean, that kind of concludes the story time aspect of the podcast tonight. I do want to spend just a couple minutes kind of going over all of our favorite stories or memories from the whole trip. So I asked all the guys to pick out 1 or 2 things that happened while Troy was over here that was their absolute favorite. And to me, it was, all the nights we spent on my back porch around a fire with a beer in hand, food on the grill or in the fryer, and then the nights we were just able to sit down and play video games together. I'm all about those kind of memories. I love, having those kind of things to hold on to, and those were probably my favorite things from this whole trip, was just getting to sit and have that time together. Troy, what were your favorite things?
So obviously the big reason why I came up there was for the wedding. So I had a blast at the wedding. Doing the shoey in front of everyone, and getting the reaction was a highlight. And also at the wedding, like getting the DJ to play Australian songs. That blew my mind, and that's just a highlight of, like, I'm halfway around the world and they've still got like Australian sort of songs. Like we still listen to down here. Our music is no different to America, but there is obviously the Australian like themed or Australian bands. So like hearing some of them being played was like, holy crap! Like, how is this even possible? Then obviously like the shooting range was fun, like experience with the boys. And then just like the Friday night and the drinking, always a highlight. Just being able to chill out with the boys. So.
Right, Hunter, what were yours?
I mean, the shooting range with the boys was definitely, crazy. It was fun. I'm glad we got to do that, especially with Troy. That's not like a huge thing or something you can do often back at home. But other than that, I mean, the Friday night, just like you said, Chicken, chilling with the boys, enjoying each other's time. It was definitely an awesome experience, man.
Connor, what about you?
Well, to be honest, I mean, I wrote down whenever the goodbye and Troy crying, but that was more just giving a hard time. But to be honest, mine was probably definitely when the first time seeing him. That was awesome because it seemed like we were all sitting there trying to pick out this Australian walking in, and we eventually, Hunter was the first one to pick him out, and just the first meeting experience in person was awesome, and just the drive home was sick, especially since I was trapped in the back of the car with this Australian I had never met before. So it's like, is he gonna stab me or am I gonna make it home tonight? So, but no, that's probably my favorite moment, was just the first interaction.
Well, and I'll say, I think I speak on behalf of all of us when I say that starting this podcast was a highlight for all of us.
Yeah.
We had tossed around the idea when he first got here that we should do that. And when Hannah was like, I can make it happen. And we just finally decided, you know what? Yeah, we should do it. and we did it, and we've kind of started an entire project now. So I'm so glad that we did it, and it's surreal that we were able to do that. So I think that was a big thing for all of us. But moving on, I just want to take a couple minutes and kind of get life updates from everybody. Since the last time we really recorded anything was, late October of 23. When we're recording this one, it's early February of 24. So what's been going on the last couple months? I'll start. Of course, I've mentioned it in a couple of the podcasts that we've recorded recently, but I fried my gaming laptop. So because of that, Chicken is working on a PC build. You guys will probably hear more about that PC build in a later episode, so keep your eyes open for that. But I'm enjoying life, working my tail off, and I'm still happily married. My wife has not chosen to kill me yet, so that's good so far. But that's really what's going on in Chicken's life. Yeah, there's always that yet. Troy, what's going on in yours, bud?
Yeah, not much has really happened since I got back. Obviously, went back to work. Been working basically non-stop since. Have another overseas trip planned for in a couple of weeks from when this goes out, or around the time this goes out. So yeah, basically just working, planning travel, getting some plans ready for the next trip up to America as well. Yeah, just living life really.
And I want to point out, just because he said he's planning an overseas trip, that trip is not back to the States. It's going to be at least probably another year or so before we can get him back over here. But, Hunter, what's going on in your life, bud?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting back in the content, getting back in the gym since Troy after, we ate a lot of unhealthy, crazy good food. But, yeah, getting back to the gym with the bro. Like I said, getting back in the content. Glad we're doing another Zoned In podcast with the boys. So, yeah, enjoying it, man.
And Connor, what's going on with you?
Living life, doing school is honestly, it's my biggest, school and shooting sports is my biggest focus, and like what I have to spend most of my time on. But like, I'm on my final semester of at my community college I'm at, and I've qualified for nationals in shooting sports, so
Hey,
that's pretty cool.
Congratulations.
I went to nationals last year and I got second, and the plan is to come back with a first place trophy this year, and
There you go.
that's the big goal. But shortly after Troy left, I actually signed my letter of intent to go to a 4-year school to shoot, to continue shooting. And I basically got a full ride for that, and I'm not going to have any college debt, which is awesome. And
Always
my
good.
plan is to get a bachelor's degree in cybersecurity.
Yeah,
Hell
awesome. That's awesome. We going back to what Troy said earlier on him planning his next America trip. We wrote down some ideas of things that we want to try to do in maybe his next trip, maybe the next couple trips. We've got 2 different times, one being a summer trip, one being a winter trip. So I'm going to talk about the summer trip. I'm going to have one of the boys talk about kind of the winter a little bit, and we'll kind of just go around and do this kind of round robin style. So for the summer trip, we talked about, my grandpa puts on a big 4th of July party every year. It's a huge event. Lots of people, lots of family, lots of love, and lots of good food. I usually spend about 3 or 4 hours grilling pork steaks, chicken, brats, hamburgers, hot dogs, the whole 9 yards. And then we do a big fireworks show. So that's always a highlight of my year, and I would love for Troy to be able to see that. We talked about the possibility of getting a lake house for a week or 2. Going down and just sitting at the Lake of the Ozarks in the sun, catching some rays, burning. We also talked about the potential of going to see a baseball game. There's 2 teams located in Missouri, one in St. Louis, one in Kansas City. We talked about going and seeing the better of the 2. We'll let you guys decide who that is. But that would be some ideas we would have for a summer trip. Troy, what would kind of some of your things be for a winter trip?
Basically just obviously the winter trip would be probably over Christmas, so doing the Christmas type of things in a like a winter Christmas will be completely different to what I have back here, having a summer Christmas. Obviously there's not real like much like hot chocolate drinking around Christmas over here. It's more beers because it's too hot to be drinking hot chocolate. Yeah, so
Sinking beers.
Yep, just sinking the tins.
If,
And obviously like football games and all that sort of stuff. So
If you do decide to come back for winter, we definitely need to go hit up some of the local hot spots. One of them's Lori. That's a big one for going and seeing some Christmas tree lights and stuff like that. But
Sweet.
something else I think would be dope to do is like take them to like a ski lodge or something for the weekend and go snowboarding, skiing, and downhill sledding. That'd be dope.
That would be wild. That would be
That would be
wild.
something you guys would have to do with them. I don't ski. I don't snowboard. I sit in the lodge and eat food.
They do tubes down hills. That's fun. Sit on a tube.
but yeah, like
You know-
I do plan to do both a summer and a winter trip, at least once each. Obviously then after that, however often I come would just be
Hell yeah,
well,
good.
it might
good.
be a spring or an autumn sort of thing where it's not as hot or cold.
Cold. Right.
Because you got cold before I left, and that was crazy.
It's either stupid freaking hot or stupid freaking cold here.
Yep.
So a couple
give
of
me
things
that.
that I would want Troy to be able to see is they do these things all around our area. I know of at least two. There's a couple more that I think, but they're called magic trees. So what a magic tree is it's basically a big tree that they end up putting like it's like 5,000 or 6,000 lights on, and it's just a big attraction that everybody goes and takes pictures of, and kind of take a time to reflect on the Christmas season and do all that fun stuff. And then actually one of my wife's coworkers owns a trolley company in Jefferson City, and what they do is during the Christmas season you can rent out one of these trolleys and they will take you all through Jeff City looking at Christmas lights. So all through like personal neighborhoods and people's private homes, all the way to a little place called Binder Lake, where they do a big drive-through show there too. But that's kind of some of the ideas that we've talked about, trying to get in his next couple trips. I mean, there's always stuff that we'd want to do, like event-wise. We talked about, of course, going back to the range, because anytime you come to the States, you got to pick up a gun. And then a couple things that we kind of toted around with, and it'll all depend on the community support we get from it too. But we talked about possibly hitting up an esports event. If there's a local LAN going on close by that we could drive to, going and doing something like that. But we also talked about the potential of having a North America meetup.
Yes,
So
sir.
get anybody from Ozone that lives in North America in one space. Whether that's we rent a hall that holds 50, 60 people, or we have a coffee house that sits 12. Getting Ozone together in one big group, I think, would be a awesome thing to have happen. And you know what? You never know. The American boys may make a trip to Australia.
It's got to happen at one point at least.
Yeah,
You just can come and see
definitely gotta
my
happen.
home.
Oh yeah, we're definitely going down under,
We
bro.
gotta make that trip in the winter. I'm too fat for it to be 100+ degrees.
The good thing is our winters down here don't get nowhere near as cold as up there.
But I definitely think when that happens, it needs to be a coordinated event so we can have the three of us go together. So we can just basically swap the roles. All of us go over there, have a good time, drink all of Troy's beer.
Yep.
Right. Just so you know, there would be
Stay at
four of
his
you.
house.
There would be four of you coming down here though, because Hannah is invited, as we pointed out in the last one. She's part of the boys at this point.
She's Ozone.
Yeah, so
She's Ozone as much as I am.
Yes,
She's
yes.
invited.
So, the last thing that we're going to talk about on tonight's podcast is what is the future of Zoned In. So, we've really worked on getting this podcast going. And as far as I'm concerned, it's going to be a regular thing. And I know all the boys agree with me. But we have some good ideas coming in. And we're always open to new ideas. So if you see this and you have an idea for a podcast, hit one of us up. Hit us up on any of our socials.
Yeah.
Put a comment down below. Let us know what you think. But we've got some potential guests, all the way from some of our content creators to some of the communities that we play with, on topics from everything of content creation itself to 5M servers, all the way to what did we do last Friday night kind of topics. Just kind of getting people together to have these kind of conversations, to sit, communicate, and have fun. We're gonna try our best to have drops every 2 weeks. There may always be the one-off time that something doesn't happen because lives get busy, but we're gonna try our hardest to make that happen, with both members and non-members of Ozone. So, of course, we want to support all of our Ozone boys, and we're so proud of you guys. But we could be having some teams come in and just kind of talk about everything going on in the world of esports today. So I know I'm super excited for what Ozone and Zoned In can become, and I hope that you guys take the opportunity to look at our previous videos, look at the videos coming out in the future, and definitely show us all the love you can. So I definitely want to spend just a couple minutes here and toss out the ever-loved exit that Troy wants from me every opportunity he can get it. Thank you guys so much for stopping in and listening tonight. We love you guys so much for your support. Keep it coming. Make sure you go check out OzoneGG.com. That is the official homepage of Ozone Esports. From there, you can see all of our current events, anything going on, any live drops that we might be doing. Make sure you go check out that store. Get everything from your hats to shirts to book bags to gym bags, all kinds of cool stuff on there. Make sure you go check it out. And make sure you go check out everybody's individual social media. Sorry, that word's hard. And all those social medias will be listed down in the description. Make sure you go hit it up. Ozone Esports LLC on Twitter. Troy, Slay, me, Claus all over on Twitch. But guys, we love you. I'm gonna go let everybody do a little sign off here, and then we'll be done. Tragic, go ahead and give your sign off.
Hey, appreciate you all. Thanks for listening. See you to the next one.
Let's play.
For real, thanks for the love, guys. We really appreciate you.
Pause.
Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
And guys, from the chicken, we're out.